What if simply placing a pinch of cinnamon on your forehead could open a door to invisible worlds, not just as a metaphor, but as a real gateway, a hidden passage between the everyday and the sacred? For centuries, Eastern sages and desert mystics have talked about an eye that doesn't look outward but inward, an eye without a pupil or cornea, yet with clear, deep vision. The third eye, that spot right between your eyebrows, isn't some modern mystical idea, but a powerful energy center known in ancient traditions as the command center. It doesn't control muscles but visions. It doesn't move the body but guides the soul. And here's where cinnamon comes in. Yes, that warm spice you usually find sweetening desserts or scenting teas. But did you know that in ancient alchemy, cinnamon was seen as vegetal fire? Its scent penetrates deeply, its oil activates, and when it touches your skin, it creates a subtle vibration that wakes up dormant parts of your energy body. In Ayurvedic medicine and certain Egyptian rituals, cinnamon was used to spark intuitive thinking and open psychic channels. So what happens if you apply cinnamon directly to your brow, with focused intention and mindful breathing? Is it just a pleasant feeling, or could it be the key to something bigger? In this video, we'll explore an ancient, nearly forgotten practice that links matter and spirit, the ritual of applying cinnamon to the third eye. We'll discover how this simple yet mysterious act can ignite your inner vision, unlock intuition, and reconnect you with subtle levels of consciousness. We'll talk about the symbolism of this gentle fire, the eye that sees without seeing, and the sacred act of anointing your body as a temple of insight. We'll also dive into the spiritual and philosophical roots of this practice, explain how it works energetically, and offer practical tips for integrating it with respect, intention, and depth into your daily routine. Sometimes the greatest secrets aren't hidden in ancient texts, but in the aromatic dust of a simple spice placed right between your eyes. Are you ready to open that door? Since the dawn of human thought, the spot between the brows has been seen as more than just a patch of skin. Ancient cultures didn't think of it as an anatomical area, but as a spiritual gateway where the soul could receive silent messages, eyeless images, and truths beyond logic. Vedic sages called it ajna, the command chakra, from where the higher impulses of being are said to flow. The Egyptians pictured it as the eye of Horus, symbolizing balance between intuition and reason, heaven and earth. For Taoists, this point was an antenna for the Shen, the pure spirit, and activating it required more than meditation. It involved ritual use of living substances. One of those substances frequently used for anointing, purification, and activation was cinnamon. Today, we mostly see cinnamon as a cooking ingredient, but in ancient times its use was deeply spiritual. Biblical texts mention it as a sacred ingredient in anointing oils, used by prophets to sanctify and open channels for divine connection. In ancient China, cinnamon, especially the bark of Cinnamomum cassia, was considered a yang element that warmed not just the body but the spirit. Why cinnamon? Because its fire doesn't burn, it awakens. Cinnamon vibrates at a subtle frequency that stimulates energy pathways without causing harm. Applied to the forehead at the third eye, its gentle warmth penetrates the aura and creates a feeling of openness. It's not the heat of the sun, but of dawn, steady and delicate. Energetically, the third eye needs clarity to function, and clarity isn't about being free of darkness, but about having inner vision. Many modern practices focus on long meditation to open ajna, but the most refined esoteric traditions understood that plant allies can help spark that process. Cinnamon isn't a drug or miracle cure, but a messenger of spiritual fire. Middle Eastern mystery schools spoke of the fire of the eye that never sleeps. To keep it burning, initiates applied warm oils and spices in rituals involving chanting, breathwork, and visualization. The fire had to be gentle, too strong, and it would burn and shut the channel. Too weak, and transformation wouldn't happen. Cinnamon became a symbol of balance, a bridge between the physical and the etheric, between the senses and sacred vision. So what looks like a simple gesture, smearing cinnamon on the forehead, is actually a hint of ancient illumination rites. It's not superstition, but a lost spiritual technology where body, intention, and plant medicine work together to reveal deeper layers of being. The third eye doesn't open by force or formulas. It opens like a flower at dawn. When conditions are right, the soul is ready, and a subtle presence stirs from within. In this light, applying cinnamon to the brow is more than a quirky habit. It's an alchemical act, a quiet call to the inner fire. The magic comes from the combination of three things: place, substance, and intention. Each is powerful on its own, but together they awaken a force beyond the physical. Let's break it down one by one. 1. The place. The third eye as the center of spiritual vision. Located between the eyebrows, ajna is more than just an energy spot. It's a multi-dimensional vortex. It's where the autonomic nervous system's currents meet and where the pineal gland rests, a small organ many ancient sages believed was the seat of the soul. From a spiritual perspective, the third eye isn't a portal to another world, but a gateway to a deeper way of seeing this one. When this center activates, your perception expands. Intuitions become sharper, thoughts clearer, and decisions align more closely with your inner truth. But ajna needs warmth, vibrational warmth, not harsh heat. 2. The substance. Cinnamon as a carrier of conscious warmth. Cinnamon isn't just a flavorful spice. On an energetic level, it's like a spark from the plant world. When applied to the skin, especially between the brows, it creates a gentle warmth. This warmth isn't random. It activates microcirculation, stimulates subtle nerve endings, and most importantly, awakens awareness in that area. The brain responds immediately to any new sensory input. Feeling the warm tingling of cinnamon directs your mind's focus to the third eye, and where attention goes, energy flows. This is one of the basic principles of energy work. Cinnamon acts like a guide, bringing your attention to this sacred spot that's often dormant from lack of use. 3. The intention. The spark that turns a simple act into a ritual. Neither the place nor the substance has power without clear intention. Energy follows the thoughts that direct it. So when you apply cinnamon, it's important to do so with silence, presence, and a sense of ceremony. It's not just putting something on your forehead, it's touching the soul's gateway with fire and purpose. You might say a silent affirmation like, "May this fire awaken my inner vision. May what I couldn't see before now be revealed to me." At that moment, the gesture becomes a vibrational seal. You've created a small ritual, a symbolic act charged with power, like an alchemist mixing ingredients for transformation. You're blending matter, cinnamon, energy, warmth, and consciousness, intention. This is where the magic begins. The third eye doesn't respond to logic, but to vibrational harmony, and this combination tunes it to its purpose: to see what's invisible, to perceive beyond appearances, and to remember the wisdom hidden behind the obvious. When you place cinnamon on your brow with focused intention, you're not doing a cosmetic or trivial experiment. You're sending a clear message to your subtle consciousness. You're ready to see. And when that message is clear, the gateway responds, not with a sudden burst, but like an ember slowly glowing from within. Many people notice a slight pressure or pulsing sensation in the center of their forehead after this practice. This isn't imaginary, It's the pineal gland activating in response to heat, scent, focused attention, and directed energy. The pineal, that tiny pine cone-shaped gland just behind where you apply the cinnamon, is surrounded by tiny blood vessels that are sensitive to temperature changes and subtle electrical signals. When it's activated, the pineal releases small amounts of dimethyltryptamine, DMT, a compound linked by some to lucid dreaming, expanded awareness, and mystical experiences. While cinnamon won't send you on a psychedelic trip, it can open the door to symbolic, quiet, and deeply archetypal perceptions. You might experience gentle visions, sharpened intuition, or increased meaningful coincidences. Reality starts to feel more connected. What once felt like random chance now seems like messages, and mental noise becomes a flowing river of images and meaning. It's as if your soul senses this respectful touch and begins to share its secret maps. But this awakening isn't always easy. The third eye is also the eye of truth, and when it opens, it doesn't sugarcoat what you see. It reveals, brings light, and shines a spotlight. That means it can stir up old blocks, hidden emotions, or false beliefs that have clouded your vision. In this way, the third eye doesn't just open, it cleanses your inner sight. Cinnamon plays a supportive role here. It activates and soothes. Its warm, sweet nature softens the impact of awakening. Opening the third eye through cold mental exercises isn't the same as doing it with a nurturing element that balances and comforts. Cinnamon is a fire that tempers rather than burns. It's a candle that lights the way without blinding you. Another important point is how your body responds. Some people notice their breathing deepens after the practice, as if their body is adjusting to a new rhythm. Others report clearer dreams, forgotten memories resurfacing like puzzle pieces, or a sudden urge to write, create, or reflect. The eye that sees also inspires, because seeing beyond activates creativity. Ideas that have been dormant and paths never taken suddenly come alive. But all this only happens when you honor the process. If you repeat it mechanically without intention or calm, the ritual loses its power. Remember, you're touching a sacred symbol with a substance vibrating with ancient fire. This isn't about forcing an event, but about creating space for something greater to unfold. When that happens, you're no longer the same. Someone who's awakened their inner eye doesn't walk blindly. Even with eyes closed, they see more clearly than ever. When we talk about opening the third eye with cinnamon and clear intention, it's not a magic trick to escape reality. It's a subtle way to live in it with greater clarity. Spiritual vision isn't about flying away. It's about looking deeply at what's already here and seeing it with fresh eyes. So the real power of this practice shows up when you carry it beyond the ritual itself and weave it into your everyday life. Here are some tips to make sure that spark doesn't fade after the first time, but grows into a torch, lighting your path every day. 1. Don't let the ritual become just another routine. A lot of people fall into the trap of repeating the practice out of habit, but without being present. The third eye doesn't respond to repetition. It responds to awareness. Every time you apply cinnamon, take a moment, breathe. Focus your attention on the brow as if it's a sacred temple. You're not just placing a spice there, you're placing your soul in that gesture. 2. Pair the practice with meditation. After applying cinnamon, sit quietly and observe. Don't force visions or expect fireworks. The wisdom of ajna is more like a sunrise than a sudden flash. Let sensations come naturally without judgment. If an image appears, welcome it. If there's silence, listen to it. Meditating with the third eye activated doesn't just deepen your practice. It fine-tunes it, like a string finding perfect pitch. 3. pay attention to what your vision reveals in daily life. The third eye isn't only for mystical experiences. Awakening it changes how you see others, recognize patterns in your life, and connect unseen threads in conversations or decisions. Notice your intuition after practice. Write it down. Give it space to grow. Vision gets clearer as you learn to trust it. 4. Use cinnamon with care and respect. You don't need a lot. A small pinch diluted in water or oil is enough. The goal isn't to irritate your skin, but to gently awaken awareness at that point. The practice should feel like an energetic caress, not a challenge. Everyone's body is different, so pay attention to how yours reacts. 5. Keep your energy clear on all levels. Activating ajna isn't just about applying cinnamon. It's also about what you consume, think, and feel. The eyes of the soul can't see clearly if clouded by emotional turmoil, mental clutter, or constant digital noise. Make space in your life for silence, reflection, and questions without quick answers. At its core, seeing with the third eye isn't about witnessing weird phenomena. It's about recognizing the sacred in the everyday, finding meaning in the ordinary. When you can do that, cinnamon becomes more than a spice. It becomes your ally, your key, your inner flame. Not everything you see is through your physical eyes. There's a vision that comes from deep within, from a place beyond time, body, and thought. That place sits right behind your brow, waiting for your invitation. The third eye isn't fantasy or empty symbolism. It's a hidden ability, an antenna tuned to the universe's subtlest truths, if you give it the space to open. And as we've seen, that space can start with something as simple as consciously placing cinnamon on your skin, paired with intention and silence. This isn't a new idea. It echoes ancient spiritual practices that knew the sacred doesn't need to be flashy but present, and that the profound reveals itself without force. Treating your body like a temple invites it to respond with wisdom. So, applying cinnamon to your brow isn't a trick or game. It's an energetic declaration, a ritual that tells your soul, I'm ready to see. I'm willing to remember. I'm open to what only my inner eye can reveal. But keep in mind, awakening the third eye isn't about having strange visions or escaping reality. It's about seeing life with greater clarity, depth, and truth. Spotting the invisible in everyday moments. Hearing the quiet messages in silence. Sensing the order behind the chaos. When you approach this practice with respect, you start living differently. Your choices become wiser, your relationships more genuine, and your purpose clearer. Because the eye that opens doesn't just seek the light, it shines it from within. If this message resonates with you, if it stirs something deep inside, I invite you to take the next step. Subscribe to this channel to keep exploring soul wisdom, subtle energy techniques, and ancient teachings that transform. Like, comment, and share this video with fellow seekers who, like you, are awakening to their inner vision. Because when we share wisdom, the sacred fire grows, and every spark can light a new awakening.